Okay, so I want to do a big update on the Altadena fire land sale, lot sales actually. So we've kind of settled into about 8 sales a week. That's kind of the pace we're going on. Given 4 weeks with a couple extra days, it's probably about 30, 35-ish sales per month. And based on that, we have 128 active listings as of Sunday, Father's Day, June 15th. That's about 3.6 to 3.7 um, months of supply, which would really be an oversupply the way the market's been the last 10 years or so. But I wanted to point out just some significant things to be aware of. And we'll end with a bang with the really interesting stuff, or at least to me. So the average days on the market has climbed from the original, and now, as we've seen the active listings increase, we're selling in the 20 to 30 days on market. So if you've got a seller that is anxious and thinks you should already have an offer, should already be in escrow, just let them know, hey, in the current market, we're not going to see, we're not going to be in escrow unless we're competitively priced. It's going to take like over 3 weeks. Again, we talked about the sales count. We've pretty much settled into this. If you look back for really almost 2 months now, other than a spike in late March and early April, we've kind of settled into around 8-ish per week. So here's a couple of things that are really important to remember. The majority of the lots are 6,000 to 9,000 square feet, 46.1% of them. Another 28%, so over 75% are between 6 and 13,000 square feet. A very small percentage of them are under 6,000, and a decent size amount, but still a small percentage over 13,000 square feet. And when you look at the prices, your lots are, the majority of them are 70 to 75 or 65. So 65 to 75 is the majority, and most are above 50 and below 90. So 50 to 90 is kind of your broad range. And it's just based on the size of the lot. I've shown many charts over time that show the size of the lot versus the price per square foot. The bigger the lot, the lower the price per square foot in general. The majority of the sales are basically between 500,000 and 800,000. So out of 100 and I forget how many sales we're at now. I think 100 and over 150. So out of those, over 100 of them, more than 2/3 of them are between 500 and 800,000. So unless you have a lot that's significantly large or has a great view, it's going to be probably less than 800 and more than 500, somewhere in there. And I think the biggest thing really to pay attention to when somebody says, how's the Altadena lot sale market? The same answer applies every single time. It depends. Right? So we've broken this down again, 0 to 6, 6,000 to 9,000, 9 to 13, and over 13. And look at the differences here. Number one, the smaller lots have shown a slight decline. In reality, this first sale was a little bit higher than typical for that market. So in reality, those have been pretty stagnant to declining. This sale up here was a very small commercial lot. So it's kind of a, you'd throw it out of the data. So it's definitely showing declining for the smaller lots. Now, the majority of the sales are here in these two groups, again, 6,000 to 13,000. And they both have shown an increase, a peak, and then a kind of a settling of the values. And we would expect that to continue based on the current a number of active listings, 128 active listings. We're going to see a settling of values. Is it going to drop back dramatically, or is it going to settle to a level amount? We don't know. It'll depend upon the balance between supply and demand. And you can also see the larger lots are showing a slight increase over time, that they sold a little low to begin with, and then people are realizing that they're probably a little more valuable, and there's an increase over time. These ones down here are generally big lots that are heavily sloped, so the lot utility is probably actually much more up in here, and we'd have to adjust for that. So the lower sales here are heavily sloped lots. And again, this outlier is commercial. So the majority of the lots have shown an increase from original and now are showing a decrease because of an increase in supply. The small lots have shown basically, low demand. Our supply is up. So the desirability of the small lots has shown that it's not that great. And then the big lots are showing more of an increase, which doesn't mean that it's going to increase dramatically, but you can see here, we've kind of settled into these prices here. They've pretty much been consistent since the 1st of April. If you pick this chart from the 1st of April, you would see level for the larger lots for the most part, and then you would see kind of a decline in the mid-range and level for the low range, the small lots. So I think it's really important to remember there is not one market. There are segments in the market, depending on the size of the lot, the view, the location. All of that still matters. All right, so we are at 3.6 to 3.7 months supply. The supply has increased. The days on market increased. We've generally stabilized in the weekly sales volume, and we're seeing different reactions in the market depending on the segment that you're in. So there is not one market. There are essentially 4 markets in the Altadena lot sales. We'll continue to track it for you and look out for some single family analysis coming up soon.